Hi.
Good morning and welcome to this Wednesday 13, so it's not Friday, it's good, to the discussion and the coffee with authors. As you might know from yesterday, this year the Q&A will be here, will be online for you. You can put questions in the chat. And last evening, so yesterday, we got two competitive programs. It was about offshore films, competition number 3 and competition number 4. And I'm really happy that we have this morning 8 directors with us. 4 of them here physically, the other 4 online. You will see all of them and you will hear all of them. So we'll take a tour, of course, because you are a lot, and thank you for being online, and thank you for being here in Bucharest. And yeah, it's better. Let's start with our guest from long distance that they are online. And ladies first. Let's start with Veronica. Veronica, and the name of the film that you directed.
Hello. Hello. I directed Once Upon a Time in Israel.
Which, yeah. Honami?
Hi, my name is Honami, who is the director of Bite of Bone. Thank you for having me.
Corinne?
Hi there, I'm Corianna Clark and I'm the director of Boscombe Bound, and thanks for having me, Animest.
And Daniel?
Hi, I'm Daniel. My film was Hide. Thanks for having us, me.
And Daniel, I think there is a small problem with your microphone, I think.
Problem? Can you not hear?
Yeah. And here with us, 2 ladies and 2 gentlemen. We are starting with the ladies. Joanna Quinn, the director of the film that we screened here. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, it's always like this. Right?
Yeah, I'm Joanna Quinn.
Yeah. I wanted. No, but please.
Okay,
It's
I'm
the same.
Joanna Quinn, and I directed Affairs of the Arts, which was on last night in Programme 4. Thank you for inviting me.
And Sharon?
I'm Sharon Sorensen, and I directed Ned, which was on last night as well, in Programme 3.
Mitch?
I'm Mitch. I directed Forever, which was at Programme 4.
And Felicien?
And I'm Felicien. I directed with Pauline Urvari. Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. So let's try to discuss a bit about your film. We will not enter like in the very complicated questions. It will be like a free chat, of course. So feel yourself at home like they are. And Veronica, back to you about your film. Tell us how did you start it, about the story. Your film, it's a student film or?
Yes, Yes, it's a student film. It's a third year film. Actually, we are studying like for 5 years altogether, and I feel that this middle film is quite important. And I really wanted to make like I got fascinated by an animated documentary, and that was quite fortunate because that was a moment when I got to go through a story in my life that was, I feel, perfect for this. And so yeah, that's how it started. And I just felt I have to, you know, make animation about this.
Because if I remember well, you have another film in our festival. You have a music video, right?
Oh yeah, right.
You do a lot. You do a
yes,
lot.
that was like yes, that was a year. It wasn't like a music video. It was supposed to it was supposed to be a film, not a musical film. But then I got to work with a great musician, Damian Czajka, and yeah, that's how it got created. It's I think it's an erotic program. Yes, exactly. So that was, it's definitely like, it's very different from the second one because it's very much more, I don't know, like impressive, and the topic is completely different. So I like to try different approaches, and I'm happy that my school is letting me do this.
I mean, the production or?
No, it was like year after year. And yes, and I feel like Lashfulness was the second year film, and yeah, I got like very different inspirations for this, and it was a very different time. It's like when I'm studying, I feel like every year is very different, and you know, I'm 24, and I feel like this time when you're between 20 and 25, like every year you get to have new inspirations and new thoughts, and that's how I don't know, I get inspired every time for a new thing, and that's very exciting for me.
Good, thank you.
Thank
Hanami, your
Yes.
turn. Your turn. So, a few words about your film.
Okay. My film has its roots in my childhood. So in certain religions scattered around Japan, there is a tradition called honekami, where people eat the bone after cremation to take in the deceased person as a part of themselves to try to overcome their grief and suffering. I first became aware of this tradition when I was confronting on my own experience again to create this piece. So it was about 3 years ago. Yes, so yeah, that's the information of my film.
And one question, it's if you consider, I mean, it's very colorful and really nice atmosphere in a film. Do you consider it a film for children?
I'm not sure. My technique, I use dotting technique in my film, so it's colorful, but it would be great for people can watch for child and adult as well.
Good. Thank you. And let's move on. Corina.
Hi. So I think with any of us, with the current situation, with the coronavirus lockdowns kind of globally, whether you've been making a film in this time about coronavirus and about lockdown or not, you're just inevitably influenced by what's going on, whether that's the way that you're seeing other people, the way that you're seeing communities. I think it's having an impact on us as creators, kind of regardless of what we're making. So through this time, I also moved to a different place in the UK, and I think I was observing how people lived here, what communities and cultures were here, and how people were behaving because of the lockdown situation toward each other. And so the animation just, as a documentary style, I was just watching people and picking up those everyday stories, and it just kind of grew from there.
Good. So it's actually your film. It's in this any doc category. It's you wanted to do it like this from the start.
Yeah, it's the way that I'm really interested in working with real conversations, real people, real stories, and that being the starting point. Recording all of that natural dialogue and then letting an animation grow from that, which is what happened with Bosc and Bound.
Good, thank you, Daniel. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's. I think there are some interruptions. I don't know why. Yeah, it's only the audio. The video, it's okay, but the audio. Yeah, okay. Let's until Daniel will probably Alex probably is because of the headphones or something.
Sorry, I had to refresh. Can you hear me now?
Let's move on.
Who's back? Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel.
Hang on.
Can you hear us now? I mean, you can hear us before, but.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Good, yeah.
Good. Oh, awesome. I'll be really quick.
Great.
I'll be really quick. Okay. So the film Hyde is it's originally from feelings of homesickness when I moved to Hungary from Wales. And what I was trying to do with the story is try and manifest a feeling of disconnection in an audience. What we have is the scenario of someone playing hide and seek to win and never getting found. So just staying in the cupboard as time moves on in a surrealist way. And every time he peaks, the world moves on and the world changes a little bit. The world he left is sort of disintegrates as time moves on. So at the end, his old life doesn't exist. The flat doesn't exist. And that's kind of how I see the situation.
But did you start it in Wales and then continue it in Hungary, or you?
No. I made it in. So the film before this, Teeth, we were in the middle of making when I moved to Hungary, and then this film was written in Hungary and created there. So I had these feelings to sort of talk about and resolve within myself. And I don't necessarily have an answer, which is kind of shown in the film, but it's a good way of trying to describe them to myself and try and share that feeling with an audience.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Felicia?
Yep. So at first we have an animated TV series project that didn't go through, but it was about humans turning into animals, and the close relatives were doing as nothing has happened. And so during the process, we accumulated a lot of materials about behaviors between humans, how humans behave with animals and how animals behave with humans. And we decided not to go in a fantastic way or in a fairy way, but in a more documentary, more realistic way. So we gather facts about a woman who works as bee, or what happens in a zoo, or what happens during the wildfires in Australia. And so we decided to make a 3-part movies with a fact and a place different each time and a different species of animals. So insects, mammals with the tigers, and marsupials with the koala at the end. And well, to show what was the state of the world through the relation between humans and animals.
Mm-hmm. And what does it mean, the name of the film?
Oh yeah. Urvari, it means different things, and it's at first we were really struck by it because it's a term of hunting. It's and even in the vocabulary of hunting, it has two meanings, and the one meaning that struck us, it was the way that an animal has to go back to their own path to lure the dogs or the hunters, and it also means like a big noise, you know, with no organization, like loud noise. So all these meanings fits for a movie. And
good. And also tell us about your technique, because also your technique, it's...
Yeah, so we are two, and Pauline Jacquelin, the co-director, she's the one who draws, and the technique is like charcoal animation. She draws, then she erases, then she draws a little more, and so that's how the characters are animated, or the landscape, the backgrounds are animated, and sometimes she does the character from one side and the background from another side when it's not possible to mix it up directly on the paper. And so each step of the drawing is a photo, so it's almost like stop motion, but not as we usually do. It's like flat stop motion. And so after we put it in the computer and we mix it up.
You have a lot of patience.
Yeah. And Pauline has a lot more patience than I do. But I assist her in the best way I can.
Good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Joanna.
Yeah, well, I made Affairs of the Art, which is film about, well, it stars Beryl, who has been in 3 other films. This is her 4th film, and she's like a middle-aged working woman, and but she's aspirational always wants to do things. So in this film, she wants to become an artist, because she always wanted to be an artist, but couldn't because she got pregnant with her son, Colin, at a young age, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, now she's middle-aged, she thinks, I'm gonna do it. And so I think in this film, we wanted to explore her family a little bit more. Because we've done 3 films with Beryl, we thought by introducing her family, we might see more of her character. Because you know, when you meet people and then you see their family and you go, oh, I get it now. You understand the person a bit more. So yeah, so I did the directing and the drawing. And Les, who's watching, did the script and producing. And Les, I am normally wearing my mask, I promise. And yes, so the technique is drawn on paper, and yeah, all animated on paper. And it took about 5, 6 years. It took too long. And then scanned into the computer, colored in TV Paint, and then all composited in After Effects.
So it was your first time when you use, I mean, maybe not you, but the help that you had, used TV Paint for...
Yeah.
And how was it?
It was interesting. I did actually spend 6 months animating on the CINETic, you know, animating in TV Paint. But I realized that it changed my animation. It stopped it being as loose. I think because you've got so many choices to make when you're animating, I found it hard to get into the animation zone, you know, when you look at your watch and go, oh my God, all those hours have flown by. You know, I never experienced that when I was working on TV Paint. I was always thinking, oh, I could save a bit of animation by creating another layer, you know. So I put it to one side and got my dusty light box out, even though it felt really old-fashioned. But anyway.
But did you try some other software or just TV Paint because
Just TV Paint because I really wanted the drawn. I wanted it to look hand drawn. So I because it needed to sort of look like the other films because they're all sort of the same. So yeah, but yeah, ended up drawing. So, but anyway, I've got lots of drawings now. Actual bits of paper.
It's always nice to feel the paper and to
Yes.
feel the pencils. And, thank you, Joanna. And another interesting film. Sharon, let us know about Ned.
Okay, so Ned is Dr. William Edward Barney, known to his friends as Ned. He was actually my father's school teacher for a little while when he was at school, but I grew up in Portobello alongside where Ned lived, and every morning I would walk to school along the promenade along the beach, and Ned would be in the water or on the beach, and he'd always wave hello and shout hello and chat to us, and he'd still be there when we were on our way home from school. And he swam in the Firth of Forth every single day of his life. He was also the president of my swim club when I was a child, so I was a child swimmer. But as far as I was aware, nobody had ever made a film about Ned's story before. And it's an interesting story. He was the oldest man ever to have swum the English Channel. And he was the first Scot to swim the English Channel. He was the first man to swim the English Channel both ways in one season. And held that record for 28 years. So he was quite a character and quite an extreme person.
And you when you did the film, you were thinking to make like an homage to like.
Yeah. As a young swimmer, he was somebody that had a big influence in my life. My first swim coach, who you might notice I thank in the credits, is Jack Snowden. He was very good friends with Ned, and he was actually in the boat, in the pilot boat, when Ned made his first crossing when he was 54, which is my film. I don't show that part in my film, but Jack was actually in the boat, so it allowed me to go and interview Jack, who I hadn't seen for about 30 years. Mm-hmm. So that was quite nice, and kind of go down a bit of a memory lane with him. It was lovely.
And also let's talk a bit about, like in Joanna's case, about the software that you work with.
Yeah. So as well as being an animator, I'm also an educator, and I work quite a lot with young people who live in difficult circumstances, who live in quite extreme poverty or are going through the care system in Scotland. And I wanted to make a film that was accessible to them. And I wanted to show them it was possible to make a film without spending thousands of pounds on equipment and what have you. So I chose to make Ned on Procreate. So it's entirely created on Procreate, which costs less than £10 in the UK, which came with quite significant challenges. It's a fantastic program, but it has quite severe limitations.
Yes, I know my son used to have Procreate, and I said, okay, but you have to animate. No, but you cannot do more than, I don't know how many seconds and the animation. So.
Yeah, so you can have, well, I couldn't do it at 4K because I didn't have enough frames to do that. So at 1080p, you can have, I think, 256 frames completely. But there's no layering system. So you have to group your frames to create a layer. So by the time you've done rough animation, 2 characters, a background, you blaze through those 250 frames fairly quickly. So there's a lot of kind of compressing, saving, duplicating, starting again. And obviously there's no ability to input any audio. So fortunately I'm quite old, so I was able to kind of go back to my dope sheet roots and work out my lip sync, break down my sound and work out my lip sync and keep my fingers crossed that it all worked when I composited it all together. But it mostly did, and there was a significant challenge to the workflow, but we got there.
Nice, good, congratulations.
Thank you.
And forever, Mitch.
Yeah, this is student film, my thesis film, and it's a true story that happened to me with AI and life insurance. And I made it using a very new technology called LiDAR, light detection and ranging. And so I got to work with a LiDAR unit that's made for self-driving cars. And I saw that as a way to illustrate the way AI can see us as humans, as humanity. Yeah, I just kind of made the film thinking I would graduate with it, and I didn't show it to anyone until the very end. And then a couple of my classmates were like, oh, this is actually really good. Okay. And then it encouraged me to put it out there, and now it's been a year that it's been playing, so it's been a very...
But you have to show it now for the school to...
Well, COVID happened, and it's like, they were really lenient on us, and they were like, you can just show it to your main advisor if you want.
Okay.
But because it's such a personal film, and I wasn't expecting it to show to anyone really, especially my mom. And then it started, and then the school, we had a little budget to play with, and I didn't use any of it. And so the school, you can use that budget to submit to film festivals. Okay, why not? And then I was very surprised and overwhelmed to see so many people connect with my very personal film.
Yeah, I've noticed, and this period, like last year and this year, a lot of films are quite personal. Not maybe your own experience, but something that it was around you. You like a filmmakers were a lot of time to thinking about it, to reflect, and that is reflecting in your film and your works. And now let's do another tour. I will go to take my phone because maybe there are some questions, and I will check it. But till then, let's briefly how this period, I don't know, marks you in some way. It was good that the lockdown was last year to finish your films. It was not good because you were alone. How was in each case? Veronica, again, back to you.
So I feel that it doesn't really change the life of animators because that's how we live normally. So it's actually the whole world that got a chance of seeing how we live. And I was talking to a lot of my friends at school as well, animators, and like the pandemics was a chance of finishing a lot of projects, but at the same time I feel it was quite difficult because, for example, I like to get inspired by my friends who study cinematography and who do directing and who do sculpture, and they had a tough time, especially the filmmakers, because they were unable to work with people, and I saw their suffering, and it got me a bit uninspired. So I'm really glad that it has changed, and now we can work together and get our ideas together.
One thing here, it's of course, again, for some people it was good, for the others don't. But a lot of filmmakers for the last year, because I think 95% of the festival were online last year, and that was one of the worst thing, let's say, because they were you are working I don't know, 2 years, maybe more for some films, and you were not be able to go to festival, because for short films, that's the life of the short films, to be shown in a festival. And last year was everything online. This year, half of them. And I hope that will not continue anymore, but you are not sure. So that maybe it was a bit, I don't know, not so good for animators, especially because they are staying home 2 years, and then they have
That's
to go
true.
out 1 year at least.
Yes.
So Honami, how was your your experience with the situation last year and this year.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my cat.
No.
Uh, uh, thank you. I usually work from home, so it didn't affect me much, but it's just a pity I couldn't attend the film festival like this. Also, I wanted to record the sound of ocean, but I couldn't. The stress and the fear of the corona was there, but it didn't affect me personally. Also, I used the dotting technique in this piece, but it was quiet and I couldn't concentrate.
Corinna?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's like just normal life for animators. We're working at home, and yeah, we did miss our outing, I think, because we couldn't go to the festivals. But actually, I've probably engaged with more festivals over lockdown than I ever have before, because wow, they just suddenly became so much more accessible. So, you know, last week I was a part of a panel in Hawaii, this week Romania. Like, this is incredible. We can connect so much more easily than before, and we're so much more open to it. You know, if you'd told me before lockdown, oh, do you want to do a video call? I would be like, ew, no way. And that definitely helped during the filmmaking process as well. People were, you know, if people weren't so willing to share their stories with me, there would be no film. People became you know, people put a lot of value on connection with each other. People gave each other more time. And I felt really privileged that they shared these stories with me. And I think, you know, I hope that the lockdown will have this lasting effect, that we really value each other and relationships with each other. So, you know, I think there have been silver linings. Obviously, it's been a terrible time, but hopefully we can, you know, take these learnings forward. Which is what I hope my film is about, really. Thank you.
Daniel?
Hello? You can hear me, I hope?
Yeah, good this time, yeah.
Okay, good. For me, it's when I started making the film, a lot of the topics in it were like what if things. And as the film was being made, some of the things sort of became real, and some of the restrictions of not being able to go back home and stuff like that became more hurtful, I guess, as you aren't able to go back to the family. So it sort of affected the tone of the film a bit. The film became a little bit darker because of what was happening.
You were influenced by this?
Yeah, so I lost a family member to cancer during the lockdown, and I wasn't able to get back home to sort of support the family and stuff. And that is a topic in the film as well, which when I wrote the film was like I said, was a what if type thing, a fear. And as the film was being made, it became a reality. So it was, so it affected the film tonally, and you know, you always put yourself in the film, so that's what happened.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, actually, we got almost the last part of the movie, the last segment of the movie. That was the shooting was almost finished, and there was a lockdown. We have like 48 hours because we don't. Pauline lives in a place, and I live in another place, so we have like 48 hours to finish the shooting of the drawings. And after, so we got all the time during lockdown to animate it and to compose the image. So with no pressure, because it was lockdown, all the time in the world, which is kind of great. So that was
But
good timing.
You had a place, physical one, when you met.
No, we
Or
had
no?
another place, so we had to shut it down, you know, and
Okay.
really first was the first lockdown, so like we didn't know what was going to happen, kind of taking the thing seriously. So no, we leave our the place where we make the drawings, and we went separate ways, and you know, do different parts of the movie.
Yeah, Joanna.
Yeah, well, we had finished all of the artwork and most of the compositing when lockdown happened. But we were about to go to Canada because we had a NFB co-production, and part of the co-production was that we would finish it. That was the deal. We would finish it in Canada and do all the posts there. And we were literally just about to buy the ticket to go to Canada and thought, should we? And so we didn't, luckily. And then, of course, it hasn't changed, you know, so we ended up having to go to Plan B, which was a completely different plan. So it was very disappointing, I have to say, because we weren't able to get to Canada and do what we wanted to do. And then also then the film went off. We eventually finished it and entered it for film festivals. And I went, so it went to its first film festival festival in January of this year. But this month is the first time we've been able to go to a festival in person. So it has been a little bit miserable, but we've been comfortable and fine, not like a lot of people who've been suffering terribly. But I have discovered online life drawing. So that was a plus for me, which is fantastic. It was really great because first of all, I thought, how can you draw, you know, from a telly or a computer screen? How ridiculous! But actually, it's a different way of drawing because you're forced to draw what you see. You can't sort of go around the corners. So that's been really great. And I agree with Karina about the online festivals. I've been everywhere, you know, virtually, and that has enabled people who can't normally travel to film festivals to get to see. And I think not so much looking at the films, but actually seeing the filmmakers, things like this are really interesting. And like workshops and stuff. And so that's been great. But generally, no, it's been pretty miserable.
But let's see the full parts of the glass. Yeah. Sharon.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ned would have happened had it not been for lockdown. I was teaching full time at the time. I'm a busy mum of 2 teenage athletes. So I never allowed myself the time. I suppose I was coming straight from work and then driving halfway around the country to whatever sport they were taking part in. And so all of that stopped. I was still teaching, albeit online, but I wasn't doing all of this running around. So I suddenly had all of this time and I was forced to shield due to a health condition. So I suppose my response to it was to be extremely busy, filling all of that extra space by creating Ned. It came with some challenges and recording voices, etc. They all had to record at home on different equipment, so it all sounded wrong. We had to fix all of that. And music, my 17-year-old son created and composed music for me. So it came with some challenges, but also some nice surprises to see that he was able to do that and take part and create what I thought was quite beautiful music. So yeah, it's been good. And I have also agree with the accessibility to film festivals. Obviously, this is the first one I've been to in recent years, but well, physically been to, but I've been everywhere online. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. Places I would never have been able to have access to before. So it's been, that's been an incredible experience.
Good. Once again, thank you for being here with us.
So thank you for having me.
Mitch, what's your...
Yeah, like everyone else, lockdown kind of saved the film. Because my production was a little closer to live action production. I was out capturing the LiDAR on location, mostly bars. And So then lockdown happened and it forced me to stop capturing and start editing, because I probably ended up using 10% of what I had. And if it wasn't for lockdown, I would have just kept going out and kept capturing, because I got kind of obsessive about it. And so then I finally had that moment to pause and, you know, review what I actually had and start to cut the film together.
And about the festivals, when did you start to?
Yeah, it was unfortunate because my first festival was Telluride, and it was too quick. They didn't have a plan to move it online. So it was kind of like this happy, sad moment of like, because this is my first film, I haven't got to go to a festival as a director before. And I was like, oh, this is great, I get to go to Telluride, but I can't, and it's not even online. And so then, yeah, my first experience was Rain Dance last October. And that was great because I think it was free admission, so it was great to see a huge turnout at that festival. But it's great now, I kind of got best of both worlds because now I'm here in person. So.
Good. Guys, just if you want to tell us something in the end of the discussion, just anything, because after this we will finish this very nice chat on the coffee. But the last word is yours, of course, as a guest. Veronica?
I just wanted to thank you, and I'm really sorry I couldn't be with you in Bucharest, and I hope we will meet next year, maybe.
Maybe.
Thank you. Next time, I am going to make a next film. So next time I want to attend the festival in physically. So thank you, and enjoy. Please enjoy my film. Sorry, my English.
Karina?
Yeah, just thank you, and it's really lovely to hear from everybody else, and I hope we can continue this conversation now that we've connected in this way. Thank you.
Come, Daniel.
Oh yeah, just thanks, and make sure everyone has a good time, has lots of fun, and watches all the films.
We will for you also. We will drink some beer tonight.
Lots of beers, please.
Felicia?
Yeah, thanks thanks to the festival, and everybody is really nice.
That was not the purpose of your last word.
And it's great to meet other directors and to see a lot of movies. So, thanks.
Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, it's lovely to be here. And Karina, I just wanted to say I love your sofa. That's great. Yeah, all the people are lovely, really, really nice and friendly, and the sun is shining.
And the sea, you can see the sea from here, the Black Sea. Sharon?
Yeah, just thank you very much for screening that, and thanks for having me. It's been a lovely experience to be out of the house and here, and I've not got a bus yet, but I've been on a plane.
Mitch?
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I really appreciate these festivals and bringing animators together, because I think we're all kind of shy and lonely, spending time in our bedrooms making animation. So thanks for forcing me out.
I thank you for your submission to the festival, because without your shorts, without your films, without your works, those kind of festivals couldn't happen. So thank you once again, and let's continue to do this. Keep the animations up. Thank you, everybody.